Why is it that when someone leaves your life, you immediately start wondering if they miss you, while they seem to be moving on like nothing ever happened? You check their social media, hoping to find some sign that they're struggling without you. You analyze every text, every interaction, looking for evidence that they feel the same emptiness you're drowning in. But instead, you see them laughing with friends, posting happy updates, living their life as if you were never part of it. Here's the painful truth. She's not missing you yet. And before you spiral into self-doubt, wondering what's wrong with you or why you weren't enough, let me explain exactly why this happens and what it really means. The first thing you need to understand is that missing someone isn't just about love or connection. It's about routine, comfort, and the slow realization of what's actually gone. Right now, she's probably in what psychologists call the relief phase. Even if the relationship ended badly, even if she cried, even if she said she loved you, there's often an initial wave of relief that comes with removing uncertainty from your life. Think about it. Relationships, especially ones that are ending, create tension. There are arguments, unmet expectations, moments of doubt, and constant emotional management. When that ends, there's a psychological exhale. The mental energy that was going toward managing conflict or disappointment suddenly gets redirected toward other things. She's not missing you because she's too busy feeling free from the stress you didn't even realize the relationship was causing. But here's where most people get it wrong. They see this relief and think it means they never mattered. They assume that if someone can move on quickly, it must mean the connection wasn't real. That's not true. The relief phase isn't about you not mattering. It's about her nervous system finally getting a break from the constant state of evaluation that relationships in trouble create. The second reason she's not missing you yet is because she's in survival mode. When a relationship ends, especially if it meant something, your brain kicks into protection gear. It starts focusing on all the reasons why the breakup was necessary, all the problems that existed, all the ways you two weren't compatible. This isn't her being mean or trying to hurt you. This is her psyche protecting itself from the full weight of loss. Missing someone requires emotional safety. It requires being in a place where you can sit with sadness without it destroying you. Right now, she can't afford to miss you because missing you would mean acknowledging what she's lost. And that level of grief might be too much to handle while she's trying to rebuild her life. She's also probably busy. And I don't mean just with work or social activities. I mean busy with the mental work of redefining herself. When you're in a relationship, part of your identity becomes tied to that connection. You make decisions based on we instead of I. You consider someone else's needs, preferences, and opinions in everything you do. When that ends, there's a massive project of figuring out who you are as an individual again. This process is actually consuming. She's rediscovering her own preferences, reconnecting with parts of herself that maybe got buried in the relationship, and making decisions based solely on what she wants. This isn't selfish, it's necessary, and it takes up the mental and emotional space that missing you would otherwise occupy. Now, here's something that might surprise you. The fact that she's not missing you yet doesn't mean she won't. Missing someone often comes in waves, and the first wave doesn't hit until the novelty of freedom wears off. She'll wake up one morning and reach for her phone to text you something funny, then remember you're not there anymore. She'll have a bad day and instinctively want to call you for comfort, only to realize that's not an option anymore. The missing comes when the routine of your absence becomes more noticeable than the relief of your departure. And that takes time. It takes experiencing holidays without you, dealing with stress without your support, or facing challenges that you used to help her navigate. The missing comes when the protection mechanisms her brain put up start to fade and she feels safe enough to acknowledge what she's lost. But here's what you really need to understand. Whether or not she misses you isn't actually about you. It's about her process, her timeline, and her way of handling change and loss. Some people miss immediately and intensely. Others miss in small moments months later. Some people miss the idea of the relationship more than the actual person. And some people don't allow themselves to miss at all because it's too painful. The question you should be asking isn't, why isn't she missing me? The question you should be asking is, why am I so focused on whether she's missing me instead of focusing on my own healing? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Your desperate need for her to miss you is often rooted in your own insecurity about your worth. You want her sadness as proof that you mattered. You want her to struggle as evidence that you were important. But your value as a person, your worth in relationships, and your capacity to be loved doesn't depend on someone else's grieving process. Think about this. Would you really want someone to miss you out of obligation? Would you want their sadness to be performed for your ego? The healthiest thing she can do is process this breakup in whatever way serves her best, just like the healthiest thing you can do is focus on your own healing instead of monitoring hers. And here's something else to consider. Maybe the reason you're so focused on whether she misses you is because you're avoiding dealing with your own feelings. It's easier to wonder about her emotional state than to sit with your own grief, your own sense of loss, your own work of figuring out who you are without this relationship. The missing you feel, that's yours to process. The sadness, the wondering, the replaying of memories, that's your heart doing the work it needs to do. Don't outsource your healing to her emotional timeline. Don't make your recovery dependent on her regret. So what should you do instead of waiting for signs that she misses you? Start missing yourself. Miss the person you were before you started needing external validation to feel whole. Miss the version of yourself that could find fulfillment and purpose without requiring someone else's emotional state as proof of your worth. Use this time to rediscover what makes you happy independent of romantic relationships. Reconnect with friends, pursue interests that got neglected, work on the parts of yourself that you want to develop. Not to make her jealous or to prove a point, but because you deserve to have a rich, fulfilling life regardless of who's in it or missing from it. Because here's the final truth. If she comes back into your life someday, you want it to be because you're both whole people choosing each other, not because you're broken people needing each other to feel complete. And if she doesn't come back, you want to be someone who can appreciate that what you had was meaningful, even if it wasn't permanent. She's not missing you yet, and that's okay. It doesn't diminish what you shared. It doesn't mean you weren't important. It doesn't predict the future of your connection. It just means she's human, processing loss in her own way, on her own timeline. Your job isn't to speed up her missing you. Your job is to learn how to miss yourself a little less and appreciate yourself a little more. The rest will take care of itself.